It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. This is the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. Happy Father's Day weekend for everyone who is celebrating. Let's start answering your financial questions. This is an email from Cheryl. I am the power of attorney for my 83-year-old mother. I am preparing her to move into a retirement community. She will likely sell her home this summer. She will net $210,000. She also has about $357,000 in traditional IRAs and receives $2,800 a month from Social Security. Her care will be $4,535 a month. Got that, guys? $4,500, but only $2,800 coming in. Okay, but wait. She also has $800,000 in a taxable stock portfolio, and it generates about $5,000 per quarter in dividends. She also has a small Roth IRA, both of which she does not want to touch. She wants to preserve that as an inheritance. Okay. The plan she says she wants is to fund her care using the traditional IRAs and a safe investment of the proceeds of the home. Okay. It seems, so again, Cheryl goes on to write, it seems like she can afford it, but let me know if you think otherwise. I am trying to understand how to minimize her federal and state tax liability on the withdrawals from the IRA, as well as the stock portfolio. So what we know is, it's funny, her care will cost $4,535. I wonder if there must be other costs, though. Don't you think? That seems like that might just be for the facility. That would be $1,700 a month. I'm guessing that they need like another $1,000 a month in income. And so she has $5,000 a quarter, right? Is that what her, yes, $5,000 a quarter. So she's got $20,000 from there. She doesn't want to sell anything in the stock portfolio because, gang, if she does not sell that and that is inherited, the kids the beneficiaries will get a step up in cost basis. So she'll have this money in her house, her $210,000. We can use that. We could just ladder that in CDs, frankly, just make it really boring. And then she should pull out whatever her required minimum distribution is from her retirement account. And that's it. I think that's fine. I think she's got that $350,000 is in that account. It's going to be perfect. And you can't really minimize the tax liability on that. You just can't. One thing would be maybe what I might do is take a look at that taxable stock portfolio and make sure that everything in that portfolio is what she wants to own. Because, I get that you like the dividends, but I'm just wondering, it'd be nice not to have those dividends because that's just taxable income to her, right? That $20,000 that's coming out in dividends. It would be nice if we didn't have that, and then you could really use just the IRA account to get your taxable income. But I don't know, it may not be worth it. I guess the only other thing to consider would be, are the children in a higher tax bracket or a lower tax bracket than mom? Because there is a case to be made that if mom is let's just pretend that mom is in the 22% tax bracket, right? Probably about. And maybe we should be taking more money out of the retirement account and pop her into the 24% bracket because you and your siblings are in like the 37% bracket. That can happen. Sometimes it's better to accelerate the older generation's money out of those accounts simply because they're going to be in a lower tax bracket than you will be. So just want to think about that. And maybe if you want to get back in touch with us and talk about what everyone's situation is in terms of the beneficiaries, we can help guide you. Okay, Robert is asking about a retirement plan. He says, I'm 60 years old. I live in Washington. My wife is 53. We have a 401k from my old job, $90,000, as well as a $270,000 lump sum deferred comp that will pay out in June of 2028. Okay, that sounds good. So far, so good. Also, an IRA with $1.1 million, and my wife has a $200,000 IRA. We also have an investment account with about $100,000 and keep $30,000 in the bank. We live in our home. It's valued at $1.5 million with, don't cry, Mark, a 2.75% 30-year fixed rate mortgage. The balance is $280,000. So Robert's going to keep working for another couple of years, making $200,000 a year. His wife will work for 5 or 7 more years at $100,000 a year. Question: should we be concerned about taxes later in life and capital gains on a home sale if we were to sell and move for retirement? Can the equity help purchase a vacation house? All right, let me just go back for a second. The taxes that you're going to pay it sure is something that you should be concerned with. On the other hand, I'm wondering, like you say, that you're continuing to put money into your IRA. Maybe you should stop doing that. I mean, for your wife, she's a little bit younger, but you're 60, you're going to keep putting money away. I might build up my investment account a little bit. And then we would think about, if you're going to retire in a couple of years, to look at your $1.1 million IRA, as well as that lump sum deferred comp payout and the old 401k. We put those all together, right? 1.2, $1.5 million. And we would start to think about, Robert, whether or not you should be pulling money out of that traditional account, which you will ultimately combine, in order to live on it. And then just let your wife do her thing. I mean, I think that it's fine. I'm not sure you guys need to be putting a lot more money into your IRA, but she's younger. We can do that. So I think that's the concern about taxes later in life, which is that pile of untaxed retirement money will be taxed ultimately. I mean, you didn't tell us how much money you need to live on, but I presume we're going to be sort of fine if we start tapping this money. Now, the question about capital gains on your home sale, well, I don't know what you were able to purchase this house for, but remember, the money that you put into this house, the original purchase, plus any improvements, not like decorating, but like, we put a new bathroom in, or we did this, something like that you can really legitimately claim, will raise your cost basis. When you sell your home, or if you sell your home, you will be able to, as a couple, exclude $500,000 of your accumulation from capital gains. But, if all of a sudden your house is now worth $2 million and your cost basis was $500,000, you're going to pay capital gains. And there's no way to really change that on your personal residence. Okay. So, the equity, if you sold it, could you purchase a vacation home? Maybe. We'd have to see if that works for you. I think that what the main point here is that you have a lot of money that has a tax liability associated with it. The IRA, the traditional IRA, the deferred comp, the old 401k, plus the equity in your home. And you should have a plan to manage that, okay? If there's something going on in your life, wherever you are, go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and if you'd like to join us live, check that box. Mark will do everything else. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show. We are trying to help you make better, maybe less bad financial decisions. We do that by answering your questions. If you've got one, go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note. And if you'd like to join us live, check the box and Mark will do everything else. We do like to do emails from time to time. We're going to try to bang some out this hour. This one is from Graziella. I love your podcast. Dear Jill and Mark, okay? So Mark, pay attention. I love your podcast. I just retired last year, and I have a variable annuity, which I started to collect. I wonder if she means that she is receiving she annuitized it and is receiving payments. She says, this annuity has a high administrative fee. How do I lower it? The financial advisor who sold it to me, he wants to convert it to another annuity, and I declined. Did I make the right decision? Mark, ready? 1, 2, 3. Yes.
Ding, 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 ding.
She's 67 years old. Her RMDs are not coming till 73. Should my withdrawal from the investment be counted as RMDs? Okay, wait a second. So look, if the variable annuity is a retirement variable annuity, like it's an IRA from an old employer, then yeah, you can use that to cover required minimum distributions. She also has a 403B and a Roth IRA, and she kind of wants to know what to do. Okay, so here's the thing, Graziella, let's kind of look at things in 3 big buckets. You've got the annuity, you've got the 403B, which is a traditional account, and a Roth IRA. You can invest the Roth IRA however you want. The 403B has to, if you're going to change that, if you were going to roll it over, you would roll it to an IRA rollover. And the only way that, I don't even think we would convert it. He didn't mention any money on the sidelines. And the other part of this is that the annuity, it really depends on whether the annuity is a retirement annuity or a non-retirement annuity. One way to get rid of annuities with high fees is to annuitize them and just like get the money out. The other way is to just pull the money out, but then you'll be taxed on all the accumulation. So we'd really need to know the details of this contract before giving you more guidance, okay? I hope that helps. Okay, next up. Hi, Jill. My name is Joe from Northern California. I love your show. I love you right back, Joe. I'm 58 years old, single, and I plan to retire at age 65 when I'm eligible for Medicare. My mortgage is paid off. I don't have any significant debt. By the way, Joe, you're sounding like a very eligible bachelor with money and a mortgage that's paid off and no debt. I'm happy about that. Okay. I make $75,000 a year. My monthly expenses are $3,000 a month. Oh my God. Okay. He's got a brokerage account with $115,000, a Roth with $135,000, a 401k with $450,000 and $50,000 in the bank. My 2 nephews are the beneficiaries of my accounts. Am I on the right track to retirement? Joe, you are indeed. I don't know what your Social Security is going to be, but if you're going to be working until you're age 65 and you're going to collect your Social Security at age 67 or 70, you got plenty of money saved, and boy, do you have lucky nephews. Sounds good to me. Brad writes, he has been wrestling with a recent job offer that's been presented to him. Okay. Here's what he got. I love these. I love job choice questions. I really do. Because it makes me think like, what would I need to get my new job? Okay. So Brad says, I work in the private sector doing HVAC work. I make about 90, let's just call it $100,000 a year. And he has a 401k. He has been offered a federal government position. So I guess the federal government is actually hiring. He would do the exact same thing. He'd make less money, 75 or 80 grand a year, right? So he'd take a haircut of about 25%. In the government, he would have a thrift savings plan, but he'd also have a pension. He said, I'd like some help on this decision because it would mean taking a big pay cut. I'm 38, will continue to work for 20 years, but I'd like to retire early as well. Okay. Okay, so I don't know like so much about your living situation right now. For example, could you support yourself on that 75 or 80 grand a year? That's your first question, right? And the second question is, if you can, do you feel comfortable making this bet? It used to be, I would say, go work for the federal government. What's going to happen? Now you can get cut. And the last person in is usually the first person out. So I want to make sure that what you've been offered is a job that we think has legs to it, more than a couple of years. I'm not sure about all the other things going on in your life. My guess is that this would be worth it to you simply because of the pension, right? But there's some risk. Mark, can you believe we're talking about risk with a government job?
Yes.
We never used to think that, right? It's really different. So I want to hear more about this guy. Do you want to take the government job or not?
I need to know more. It's good that he wants to work in this job for the next 20 years. So he would obviously, if he doesn't get blown out, he would have that pension. I'd like to know what the pension details are. I'd like to know how much money he has saved already.
Yeah.
How much he spends.
We need more info. Get in touch with us. Marcus says he's been watching and listening to us for about a year, and he says, I think I have a unique question. Okay, let's see. Marcus is going to turn 43 later this year. He's married. He's got 2 kids. One just graduated from high school. The other is in 6th grade. He says, I have a good job with a state pension, but due to some injuries, not a long-term option. I've got enough time in the pension plan to pull retirement and start collecting now. Meanwhile, I have another job in the private sector that I've lined up, and it could replace my income from that previous state job. The big question I'm trying to answer is the options around the annuity. Okay, pay attention, Mark. You love these options. Option 1 is a 12-payment annuity, which is $3,600 a month with a 3% COLA. Option 2, a lump sum, $188,000 with a partial payment, $2,685 a month with a 3% COLA. And option 3 is I can adjust the lump sum to be lower and my monthly to be higher. For example, $123,000 lump sum and $3,000 a month as the pension. Any lump sum I would plan on rolling over into an IRA. Okay, so
Good options.
Good options. He's married with 2 kids. Okay, my first question, Marcus, is are these options, do they have a spousal benefit? I'm just wondering, because without a spousal benefit, it's a little bit riskier, right? Because then it's like I take the annuity, and then what happens if like 3 years later you drop dead? What happens to the payments? That's one question to ask. And number 2 is, what other money have you saved? I mean, it doesn't sound like you actually need the annuity right now. So oddly enough, I am actually leaning towards a lump sum because of his age. But I want to know more about this because I don't know about these injuries. I don't know if you'd want to have some consistent payment. And I really want to know more about whether these payments would continue to your wife if you predecease her. So
I'm the opposite.
You want the money?
Yeah, the lump sum, it's not compelling enough for me to give up the partial annuity. I would, if you're telling me he's 43 and he can turn on $3,600 a month now for the rest of his life, and his wife gets survivor benefit.
Yeah, but what if she doesn't get survivor benefit?
Well, that's the big key. I don't know. I'm making the assumption that there's some sort of survivor benefit. I would take the annuity.
I don't know. There's something about having control of your money when you're very young.
It's not a ton of money, though. It's a nice chunk of money, but it's not life-changing.
Maybe it is to him.
Yeah, we need to know.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll find out. See, this is good. This is why you have 2 different opinions. And there are many ways to get there. So follow up with us. We want to bring you on the program. That's for sure. If there's something going on in your life, maybe you're changing a new job, maybe you're buying a house, maybe you're selling a house, maybe you're just getting started on your financial journey. Wherever you are, get in touch with us. We are here for you. Both Mark and I are certified financial planners, and we'd love to help. Just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. We are here trying to help you navigate all the different choices in your financial life that lie in front of you. If you've got a question, all you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and if you'd like to join us live, just check the box. Mark will do everything else. While you're on the website, don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter. It comes out every Friday. It's a perfect tune-up for this program. Right now, let's get to an email. This is from Jason, who writes, both my wife and my employer offer a 32-hour per week schedule with a 20% reduction in pay. We currently gross just over $200,000. My wife is 46. I am 52. We have a 14-year-old and a 6-year-old. Oh my gosh, that's a big age difference. Okay, so Jason says, we would like to know if we could both take advantage of this reduced schedule without risking our future retirement. We like the idea of being around more while our kids are at home. I would like to fully retire at age 67. My wife is more unsure, but somewhere between 62 and 65. All right, here's what we got. 401k, $650,000. These are combined numbers. $650,000 in traditional. They're putting $37,000 a year in with a 14% employer match. That's a lot of money. Wow. Roth IRAs, $680,000 currently maxing out. Okay. And they're maxing out at $15,000 a year because she's under 50, he's over 50. HSAs, $30,000. They contribute $8,000. It's good. These accounts are invested, not being used for current health expenses. 529s, $100,000, contributing $650 per month. They've got a primary home that is worth about $250,000 with a $47,000 mortgage, 3.6%. Oh boy, here we go. 4 rental properties. Oh my God. A lot of money in these properties. And let's just say, forgetting about this, because I'm not going to talk about selling these properties right now because he's not here to answer some questions. But they basically have $2,000 per month cash flow from the properties, but they've been saving the money in just in an account because they've got to do some repairs and updates. Okay. $6,000 a month is what their current spend is. His Social Security at age 67, $3,200. Wife's is similar, but she would prefer to retire before 67 if possible. Okay, so here's the thing. If he were to take a 20% pay cut, the question is, could we reduce our 401k contributions? To what level? We need to contribute 3% in each account to get the full match. All right, so they're young, so we're talking about 20 years or so before Social Security kicks in. I guess the question is, if you were to look at your spend right now, if you have your $200,000, let's say it's 205 or 210, what I would do is I would back into the reduction on your retirement accounts. What I would look at is on our 32-hour per week schedule, managing that. What would you need to do to make sure you could spend the $6,000 per month? My guess is that something will have to give. Probably I would give on the pre-tax 401k. I think that I would likely pull that back and make sure that whatever you're not getting paid in that, because you've taken the reduction in your incomes, that you probably would just take it out of the pre-tax 401k. I would continue doing Roth. I'd continue doing your HSAs. I'd keep putting money in your 529s. I think you're going to be fine. It's just really the question is that, you've got all these rental properties. You say you're going to get paid off in 10 or 12 years. Maybe not each one is doing exactly what you wanted to do. So maybe that's some money there. But I think it's possible if we took that reduction, what would our take-home pay be? And then go back into it. I'm guessing they put $37,000 a year into their 401k, that in a pre-tax 401k. Honestly, they could definitely pull back by 10, 15, maybe 20 grand. That would be fine. And the money will grow. And then we always have, potentially the sale of a couple of rental properties. He doesn't have a ton of money in the rental properties. Like his equity is, 300 grand or so. But it sounds like they're in pretty good shape. Mark, do you agree with that we would pull back from the pre-tax, the traditional 401k rather than the Roths?
Yeah, that's the place to do it. I think they can do this. They're not talking about, one of them stopping work altogether. They're both going to be working. There's just a little bit of a reduction, but they've already got, $1.3 million saved. So I think they can do it. I think they can do it also.
So, give us a holler back if you need some more info. Okay. So Avis writes, Mark, this is right up your alley. When the stock market goes down, is it a good time to transfer money from my 403B and 401k to a Roth IRA? I think what she means is converting. She's 68, getting closer to required minimum distributions. She's got $1.75 million in taxable retirement accounts. These include a rollover IRA, a 401k, and a 403b. She's been transferring funds. I think she means she's been converting funds to the Roth for the last 3 years that keep her in the 24% bracket. But I fear when my 73rd birthday comes around, because it's not 75 for her because she's a little bit older, I'm going to have a huge tax bill. I'm retired. I have few daily expenses, no mortgage or credit card balances. So, Mark, I guess the question is, given these facts, should Avis go above the 24% bracket, go into the 32% bracket, and convert more money, considering she's only 5 years away?
Yeah, I just don't know how much she's going to get done in 5 years, and I also don't know how much cash she has on the sidelines to pay the tax bill. So I don't know. I mean, just given the time frame here, I'm inclined to just, this is one of those good problems to have.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure I would do it either, but I think that continuing to convert at your 24% bracket would be great. And then get in touch with us because we'd like to talk a little bit about what the things you can do at age 73 to maybe change the trajectory of what those RMDs look like. Okay? If you've got a financial question, it's so easy to get some assistance or some mentoring or some coaching. Go to our website, jillonmoney.com. Click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and if you'd like to join us live, just check the box and Mark will do everything else. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. We are trying to take the mystery out of your financial life. We do that one listener at a time. If you've got a question, just go to our website, jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and if you'd like to join us live, just check the box and Mark will do everything else. Hey, while you're on the website, check out our 2 other audio programs. We've got 2 podcasts, one that airs on Monday through Friday. That's called Jill on Money. And the other one is called Money Watch, which airs on the weekends. We've got links to them, or you can get them wherever you find your podcasts. Right now, let's get to an email. This is from Ty. Ty wants to know which is better, Treasury bills or CDs. Treasury bills, there's no state income tax on the income earned. True, not that much income. You know what? A lot of people just like to have CDs because it's with a bank and it's easier and it's not that big a deal. If I look at T-bills versus CDs, you just have to look at your tax bracket to see which one is better based on the state of residence. It's sort of like the same thing with if you were going to buy a municipal bond fund. You say, oh, should I buy a municipal bond fund or a taxable bond fund? It depends on your tax bracket, depends on your state of residence. So you got to run that number or get back in touch with us, Ty. Okay. Steve wants to know. He says, I'm currently putting $500 a month in my traditional IRA, and the total amount in the IRA is $102,000. I'm 47 years old. Should I invest some of my IRA in stocks? I've never done that. And right now I'm earning about $350 in interest per month.
So all this time he's just been putting it in the money market?
Yeah.
Oof.
Or a short-term bond fund. Steve, I'd love to hear from you. We need to hold your hand to get through this. I don't say just jump in, but this is exactly what Mark was just saying. If you have the money to invest, now would be a really good time. And you're only 47 years old. You can't touch this money for at least 12 and a half years. So I'd love it if we could hold your hand and help you figure out how to get that money to work. So yes, we'd love it if you could buy a stock index fund. I don't know if you're just in a money market or if you're with a bank. I don't know, but could you follow up with us? We're going to hold your hand. We're going to help you do this. Definitely. Okay. So this is from Rome, who says, I just turned 67. I'm trying to decide when to retire. I have about $230,000 in an IRA, $60,000 in an online savings account earning 4%. There's that savings account, Mark. And I'm currently working. I earn $70,000 a year. No car payments. 10 years left on my 15-year mortgage, 2.375%, paying $250 a month. It looks like extra on the principal. Zero debt. My wife is retired after 40 years. There's a 403B with $600,000, an IRA with $80,000. I have, this is back to him, $30,000 in a 401k. I'd like to retire this year, but if I work 2 more years, I'll receive more in Social Security payments. We live in Washington State, by the way, no state income tax. What do you suggest? I'm going to make Mark decide for you. Should I work 2 more years? My wife and I are in very good physical shape. Both of us get plenty of exercise. I am concerned about having enough money to pay the bills and having enough money to travel a couple of times a year. So, I mean, look, if you're worried about this and you don't mind working, I think working is great. But Mark, should he work just to get a higher Social Security benefit?
Yeah, and I don't even know if that's accurate. At this stage of the game, why would his benefit be increasing now based off of these 2 years?
No, it's just waiting till 70 to claim. That's where you get your better benefit.
Yeah. I think his benefit right now is what it is.
If you're insecure about retirement and you have a job that you don't dislike, keep working. That'll make you feel more secure, because that not only will you be able to delay taking your Social Security, but you're earning money and you're not dipping into your retirement accounts. But I really think it's worth it for you to just take a deep breath. And if you don't like what you're doing, then absolutely we can help you out. It's not a problem. I think you're going to be able to retire. It's really about your emotional state as you consider this. All right, this is from Roland, who's said, I had an excellent column in the Virginia Pilot Easter Sunday, which was called What to Shred and What Not to Shred. Here's a follow-up question regarding medical records and what to shred. I can see you holding on to surgical records. How about routine medical exam papers? How about prescriptions that you no longer take? Okay, you can shred things you don't take. The only reason you hang on to medical records is if you've got a dispute with your insurance company or with Medicare. That's why. But once that's all done, routine stuff, yeah, hop that into the shredder, fire it up. Everything is good. Last question from Jenna, who says, tomorrow we go to settlement on the sale of our rental property, and it will leave us with $180,000 after taxes. We're 45 and 50. We want this money to grow for retirement. The plan was to dollar cost average into an index fund. But what's the best move right now, given the uncertainty of the market? It's so funny, Mark. I was reading this. As I was reading this, I thought, oh my God, like roll it, put it all in. Let's go. But Jenna says, my brother invests corporate proceeds for a living. He's always hesitant to advise people about their personal money. He's thinking he's going to hold it in cash until the tariffs are settled. He doesn't think we've seen the bottom yet. I'd appreciate your thoughts on what we should do with the money. Hey, love your brother just like your brother. I think he's wrong. I think you should dollar cost average. You have $180,000, and I would put the money to work on a methodical basis. If your brother is right and the market keeps going lower, you'll keep buying lower. If you're wrong, big deal. You lose a little of your upside. Dollar cost averaging is a miracle. It really is. Get that money to work. Stop messing around. Are you carrying the weight of a big financial decision? You don't have to do it alone. We are here for you. Just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. You're back. It's Jill on Money. We are trying to help you navigate whatever is in front of you on your financial journey. And there may be a lot of different paths to take. One of the reasons we love to do this show is sometimes we can shed light on a path that you might never have considered. And again, this is all about you. So if you have something that's going on Most of the big decisions in your life do tend to touch on your money, and Mark and I can help you decipher whatever is going on. All you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. JillOnMoney.com. You might as well bookmark it. You'll come back. And in the upper right-hand corner, wherever you are navigating on the site, there is a Contact Us button. Click that button, write us a note. Give us a lot of detail if you don't think you want to join us live. Otherwise, check the box and Mark will do everything else. It's just that easy. Next up, we've got an email from Anne who writes, how do you safely invest a $2 million inheritance in order to live off of the interest? I'm a 68-year-old single woman with no kids, and I've been working full-time for the past 46 years. My house is paid off, and I will take Social Security at age 70. I would like to retire at the end of this year. After losing a lot of money over the years with bad investment advice, I really would like to have some security with this investment. Okay, Anne, this is a question that requires a little more detail, but I want to give you the nuances here. I'd love to understand how much other money you have that's just saved, and also whether or not you can use that Social Security payment and cover most of your expenses. If that's the case, then that $2 million inheritance could be invested in a very conservative mix of, say, stock index funds, bond index funds, maybe a little bit of international. Of course, if you wanted to be totally safe, it would have to be laddered bonds or laddered CDs, but then you wouldn't get any growth. And I think because of your age, you are pretty young, we would like to have some growth. So I'd love to invite you to come on the program and we can walk through what your options are and how to preserve the money you have inherited. I hope that helps. You're listening to the Jill on Money Show. We'll be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's hour number 2 of the Jill on Money Show, and we are going to get started answering your financial questions. This is an email from Judy. Oh boy. Each day I slump into deeper regret over selling my gold back in January. If I waited until May, I would have gained an extra $300,000, and seeing it climb even more is just gutting. I'm losing sleep, stressing as the world is collapsing. My major savings was in gold for 7 years, during which I missed the supposed good years of stock market earnings. I made double holding gold, so it seems I've done better than 8% each year in the market. I felt more secure holding gold since it's universal. This past September, I lost my brother. The Hurricane Helene hit. There was just a lot of stuff going on. So she went to a financial advisor. The advisor said, sell your gold, pay off your house, which had a 6% mortgage. And then there was $500,000 with the advisor in low to moderate risk assets, single, no kids, 65 years old, full-time employed, $90,000 a year. I'm going to be working until I'm age 70. All right. I have $1.3 million of assets and $50,000 in a high yield savings account, about $65,000 in a Vanguard account, another account in a CD with $80,000. No debt. Can I just say something? Poor Judy. I don't know what to say to make it better for you, but I don't think that this is the advisor's fault. I think that most advisors would say, wow, you're 65 years old and you're 100% in gold. Maybe that wasn't the best idea. That said, it does sound like you're in fine financial shape. So why are we looking back? Imagine people who said, oh, I'm only going to look back. Oh, I sold my NVIDIA, or I sold my crypto at 30,000 when it was Bitcoin was at 30,000. Let's not look back. Maybe what I would say, Judy, is that instead of looking back, let's look at where you are. Let's look forward. We can't undo the sale of gold, right? But what we can do is say, do you have enough money to live your life? are you happy with just the level of assets? You're single, you're working. It doesn't seem like there's any problem here. And if you want more money in safer assets, that's fine. You already have 50 grand in an emergency reserve fund. I don't think you need much more. You're in good shape. Looking back and regret, boy, that's just not productive for you. I don't know how to make that better, but it's not productive. Anonymous says, why save for retirement? This is the subject. The message is, I'm hoping you can help me convince my friend to save for retirement. He and his wife are both state workers. They're entitled to a pension. Between this and Social Security, they don't see a need to save anything additional. They're 47 years old. They've done the math. They think they're going to be fine. Maybe they will be. I'm a worrier. I couldn't sleep with all my eggs in that one basket. When my friend asks why I save, I pointed out that without a nest egg, they'll always be paycheck to paycheck. And it would be hard to do things like home improvements and other purchases, such as a car. I know it's none of my business, but sometimes they ask me why I save so much. So I'm wondering if you have any good reasons I could provide. The role of inflation, over the next 20 years. Okay, Anonymous, stop talking to these people. Who cares what they think? And they don't care what you think. So if they're entitled to a pension and the pension has an inflation adjustment and they get Social Security and that's the risk they want to take, fine. Who cares? What do I care what they want to do? They're not asking you for your advice. And if they want to know why you're saving so much, you might say, well, I just feel more comfortable this way. Let's decide never to talk about this again. It's kind of like politics. Let's decide not to talk about this ever again. This is silly. I don't know why people get into other people's business. You know what I mean? It's unnecessary.
As a parent, I see parents comparing kids to all the time, like comparing their kids with other kids. I do not care what other kids are doing. All I care about is what I'm doing.
I know, man. We're different. We are different. I always think that this is also a funny thing where sometimes what people will do who have like some money, like they're making some money, like a decent amount of money. I call them the working rich. So, on the coasts, they're maybe making $400,000 or $500,000 a year. And they're like, oh, look at all these people. They're making $1 million a year. Who cares what someone, are you living the life you want? What do you care?
That's all that matters.
Unbelievable. Goodness gracious. So George writes that he and his wife are 55 years old. They've paid their home off many, many years ago. They live in an area that is a high tax state. And he also says that because they live near a lake, he's got high cost of insurance. So here's the question. Ready? My wife and I both love Hawaii and we travel to the islands often. We know it's very expensive to live there, but we really would like to sell our home and rent there. And he says we would both work, and I want to know if this is possible. So, I think the most important thing that you mentioned in this email, George, is that you're familiar with how much the cost of living really is there. So let's say that you are thinking about something like this. Anybody listening? The real issue is how much money have you saved so far? How much is the differential in the cost of living? Because obviously renting in a place like Hawaii is expensive, right? And so what we're really trying to do is the same thing we do when we do any kind of planning, and that is figure out what is the cost of your day-to-day expenses. Plus, I'm sure you're going to want to go back to the state which is your first love, or where you grew up and had your lives. And so you want to figure out what are your expenses. Then you're going to figure out, hey, can our income cover those expenses? And if not, if you want to use the proceeds of the house sale to help you out, that's fine. But you still have to figure out your retirement part. So we still would have to do just the standard financial planning to see whether your retirement goals are still within reach. But I like the idea of just thinking like this, which is maybe I don't have to own. Maybe I could rent. It doesn't mean that you don't have to do the other work, though. So get back in touch with us or just go on and run those numbers yourself, okay? Patrick writes, how do you determine whether to take a lump sum offer from a company in lieu of monthly pension payments? My monthly pension amount is $3,400. How much should the lump sum offer be to get me to take it? What interest rate do you assume? I would use 30 years as the number of years the pension would be drawn. How do you factor in the fact that a lump sum is a guaranteed payment, whereas the pension would end if I got hit by a bus one day after I retire? Thanks, Pat. Okay, Pat, here's the thing. This is an interesting observation about two parts of a pension. One is that you get all the money up front, which is great. It sounds like your pension doesn't have any kind of survivor benefit attached to it, or maybe you're not even married. I don't know. But I think the idea would be is that they'll give you these choices. We don't have to back end it. So once you get the actual lump sum amount that the company offers, then we would determine, well, how much is that worth? Is it better to have that money in hand, have full control over it, rather than get that monthly payment? Sometimes the pension, the monthly payment, is a better deal based on the fact that it's a guaranteed stream of income with a certain amount of cost of living adjustment attached to it. But a lot of this is not just a straight up which one is better. It's what's better for you. So I want to hear more about who you are, what else is going on in your life, and get that lump sum offer, and we can start to pound the numbers with you. Okay? Good. If you've got a financial question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's go to Daniel from Arizona. Hello, Daniel. What's going on?
Hi. I'm retired. I've been retired for almost a year, and I'm just wondering, I didn't have a lot of time to save for retirement. I had to retire partly due to health issues, and I'm just wondering if paying off my mortgage is a good idea.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Daniel. How old are you?
60. I'll be 69 in July.
Are you single, married, partnered?
Single.
Okay. And do you receive any pension benefit?
I do, but it's very small. It's about $72 a month.
I mean, $72 a month, I would earmark that to like, okay, that's coffee. Maybe. I don't even think that'll cover your coffee for a whole month. And how are you living right now? What is the source of your income? Do you receive Social Security?
Social Security, yep.
And how much is that?
About $2,500 a month.
Okay. Does that cover most of your needs, or do you need to dip into other money?
It does. My monthly expenses come to $27.
Oh, so that's not bad. Okay. How much money have you saved? We'll talk about the house in a second. I hear what's coming, but tell us about your savings. Did you participate in a retirement account through work?
I did. I had a 401k, and I've moved that to both a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA.
Okay, so how much money is in the traditional?
That's $93,000.
Okay, and what's in the Roth right now?
$28,000.
And any other investment accounts, a brokerage account, or anything else that's out there?
Well, I have checking, which is about $37,000 now. I have physical gold, which is worth about $50,000. I have a high yield savings account, which is 3.5% interest, $9,600 there. I have $2,000 in crypto, and then $3,000 in emergency cash.
Okay, cash. Okay,
right.
Now, how much is your house worth?
Last I checked, it was about $450,000.
And you like it? You want to stay there?
I think so. I mean, if I could sell this house and move to a house about the same size in a better climate, I might do that. Someplace that's more affordable, maybe. But most likely, I'm going to end up staying here. Okay.
You have a mortgage, right? And what's the outstanding amount on that mortgage?
That's $155,000.
When is it? How long is it good for? Like, what's the term of this mortgage?
The maturity date is March of 2051.
That's a long time from now.
Yep.
Okay. What's the interest rate?
I hope I make it that long.
I know, right? What's the interest rate that is through 2051?
2.75.
Oh, that is such a nice low mortgage interest rate. And you want to pay this off because you don't like it? Like, what's your story? What's
Well,
going on?
I'm thinking if I pay this off, I will be able to meet my monthly expenses with just the
Yeah.
Social Security.
Okay, but wait a second. Wait a second. So let's go back a second. So the idea here is I'm just reframing. We get this question a million different ways, but I'm going to reframe it, I think, in your situation, which is this. You have a limited amount of money saved, right? You have this $93,000 in traditional, $28,000 in a Roth. The physical gold you can't really do anything with. You probably don't want to sell your crypto. Is that right?
More so the gold. I'd rather hang on to the gold because it's
Okay.
outperforming everything.
Okay, but that leaves us with this situation where you have about 50 grand in savings and cash, right? A little bit more, 50 grand in gold, which we don't want to plow through all that money. So now my eyes are going to the traditional IRA because, you're 69. In a few years, you're going to have to start taking money out of that account. So why not start to use that money to just, slowly but surely take some money out of that account? Because if you were to try to pay down your mortgage, the problem is you have no other money to draw on. And if other expenses start to rise in the future, if all of a sudden, even you want something's happening in the house, you don't have the access to your money, you don't have the liquidity. So if you really think about it, if you really just want to be pretty safe, you have a very low tax bracket right now, right? You are, I mean, I don't know, you don't have a ton of interest and dividend income. So, I presume that you're mostly in the 12% tax bracket. So what if instead of you burning the cash up to fund that difference, that you were just very methodical about taking some of the money out of the traditional IRA? How's that invested, that traditional IRA, by the way?
I couldn't even tell you. It's with Fidelity. From what I remember, when I set it up, I had 3 or 4 different choices, and I took the choice that was more conservative.
I mean, look, if you were taking out $500 a month from that traditional IRA and we did nothing else, right? Let's just pretend that you're going to take $500 a month out of your traditional IRA and you're going to do that. You pay the extra taxes, just an extra $6,000 on your taxes, right? You'll clear the money that will fund your gap. I think that there might be a case for more than that, but let's just pretend it's $6,000. You pay the tax that's due. You've got your few $100s difference that you funded for your year to cover your expenses, right? And you keep the mortgage. Now, what we're betting on is that your money that's invested, that it will over time grow faster than 2.75% over time. And I think that that's probably been your case, Daniel, for the last many years that you've seen that. And I'm not saying you have to get, 22% return, but, if you just clock in at a somewhat conservative growth, balanced kind of portfolio, that means that your traditional IRA will probably be exhausted maybe in 15 years, maybe 20 years. So that gets me from 60 to your late 80s. And then all of your other money is growing. Okay. If you can live with the idea that you're carrying this mortgage because it's such a low interest rate, what would be nice is for you to just make sure that you use that IRA, the traditional IRA assets to fund the difference. And then you have some optionality, meaning that you have money, you're using this money. If you take all this money out of the investments that you have and pay down your mortgage, then you're basically saying, I'm betting on 2.75% return until 2051. I think that's a lousy bet. You're going to do better than that. And I don't know if we are going to be here at 2051, but for the next 15 or 20 years, if all you've done is basically drain your traditional IRA, you let your Roth grow, you can do whatever you want with your crypto, but you're kind of fine. And then if you sell the house and you find some place to live that's cheaper, or you even find some place in your area where you say, okay, I live in Arizona, but I'm going to make this up. I'm going to move from Phoenix to Flagstaff. That would seem cooler to me in the summer. But you find something, then you haven't lost the use of your money. So that's kind of the way I look at it. And I think that this is a question we receive from people all the time, which is, should I pay off my mortgage? And the biggest problem with paying off a mortgage is that you just don't have control over those funds anymore, and you don't have access to those funds. And I think you need access to your funds because that's where you are in your life. I guess that if you were like, I'm 85 and I've got 930,000, not 93,000, and you just were like, I'm bothered by this, fine. That's fine. But I don't think you're in that place, and I don't think we want to lose access to your money. Does that make sense to you?
I was worried that what I have, that my assets would not last long enough. And I thought if I paid off my mortgage, then I don't have to worry about that.
Well,
and it would leave me $61,000 in assets still after I paid the mortgage.
I don't want to lose.
Most of which is gold.
Yeah. I mean, and you can't, what are you going to do with your gold if you have to actually then, you need money to do something? Like you need something that is like not covered by Medicare or your health insurance, your supplemental, or you need a new car. Are you just going to sell gold in the market to do that?
I don't know how long it would take to sell the gold. I know that there's a fee and then probably taxes.
Yeah, listen, I hear what you're saying. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. I don't think that's the best idea. Jill on Money will be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
Welcome back. It's the Jill on Money Show. We are focused on you and what is going on in your financial life. So whatever it is, maybe you're trying to pay for your kids' college education. Maybe you're trying to figure out whether or not now is the time to retire. Maybe you are looking to upsize. Maybe you're looking to downsize. Whatever. Let us know how we can help you out. All you need to do is go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and if you'd like to join us live, check that box. Mark will do everything else. Right now, let's talk to Therese, who's on the line from New Jersey, the Garden State. Hello, Therese. How are you? What can we do for you?
I am retiring in 7 years.
Congratulations. But wait a second. 7 years? I thought you were about to say 7 months.
No,
All right,
7 years. So
okay.
I have a 7-year plan. I'm just trying to retire with as much money as possible to live a simple life, but a
full and simple life. How about that?
Exactly. Yes. So I have zero debt other than 2 mortgages. I have been investing pretty heavily in my 403B. I work for a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. However, I do have some Vanguard accounts, and one of my tech stocks has been doing very, very well. Mm-hmm. So it has declined about 80 grand in the last, few months with a more simpler type of AI that came out. It kind of
so maybe you own NVIDIA in this account?
Yes.
Okay. So how much is the position worth right now?
$275,000.
Holy smokes, in one stock. Okay, wait.
Yes.
Let's go back. Before we do that, let me go back in time. How old are you, Therese?
I am 60.
You're working right now full time, right?
Correct.
Are you married, single, partner?
Single.
Okay. And how much do you earn?
About 72.
Okay. And will you be entitled to a pension when you retire?
No, but I have my ex-husband's pension.
Oh, I mean, that's the one case where I like the ex-husband.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. When will you get that?
I'm already receiving some of it now. He's much older than I am. I have full benefit if he passes before me. And also I am entitled to his life insurance then as well, still as part of the divorce agreement.
Okay. How much is the pension amount?
Monthly, I'm getting about $1,200 a month.
Okay. That's a nice amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how much money have you squirreled away into that 403B?
Probably about 200.
And then you've got the Vanguard accounts. What's in those accounts?
Oh, I would say a total of about 400, with the in video being 275 of that. And I'm looking to see if maybe, my question is, maybe I should be moving it around or cashing some out, putting some in CD, putting it in a safer market, because I've seen it decline, just that stock alone, about 80,000.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, it was on some wild ride. It's crazy. How did you know to buy that stock? I mean, I'm not asking you to like share every secret, but like, what about that? What drew you in?
Well, I was looking for IT investment, and that was recommended to me.
Really? It's impressive. Okay. You own your home?
Yes.
And what's it worth?
One is worth about 800,000, and the other about 400,000.
And you said there's 2 mortgages. So on the 800, what's left on that mortgage?
You know what? I don't have that total amount now. I would have to say it's probably under 200,000, because we bought it.
How about I'll say 200? What the heck? Yeah. What do you know the interest rate?
Oh, yes, 2.3.
Nice, mommy. The second home, is that a vacation home or is that a rental property?
It's a rental property.
Is it? And there's a mortgage on that also?
Yes.
You know how much that is? Approximately. Just give a guess.
I would say about 180.
Okay. Also low rate?
No, 7.6.
Ew. Did you just buy this?
Yes, I did. It was, I have a disabled son who needed housing. And so I bought it as investment property. He lives there with a roommate, and they pay everything.
Okay. And is that your only child? Do you have others?
I have another as well.
And how old?
My children are 30 and 35.
Okay, got it. And do you need to, besides this house, which is obviously a real investment, do you need to provide ongoing help for your son for who is disabled?
I do not. He has a community-based waiver in Pennsylvania, so that provides supports. I have a disabled trust fund, and he is enrolled in an ability account.
Okay, great. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So you've got the special needs trust. He's got the ability account, so that's very good. And the other one's okay on they're on their own?
Yes,
Great.
yes.
All right. So is there any other money that we have not talked about besides 403B, the brokerage account? Are there any old retirement accounts floating around, or Roth accounts somewhere?
Yes, there's a couple of inherited Roth IRAs from when my mother passed that I am having sent to me monthly over a period of time. I'm hoping to still continue to receive some of that after I retire in 7 years. That'll go about another 2 years. So I would say total of those 2 accounts would be close to about 200,000 as well. And then I have a couple of other 401ks that are probably along the lines of like 60,000 right now.
How much money do you spend?
About $3,200 a month.
That's it?
That's it?
Well, that's not counting the mortgages, but yeah. So that's like, I don't have a car payment. We're talking my insurance. I put everything on one credit card, a cashback credit card. I charge everything, and then I pay that off every month. And then, so there's about $3,200 to $3,500 a month. And then on top of that are the 2 mortgages. One is paid for with my tenants, and the other is $1,600 a month.
Wait, you know what I wanted to ask you? You mentioned that insurance policy. How much is that worth, do you think?
It's $1 million policy.
How old is the ex?
He's 71.
I mean, that is a huge chunk of money in the future, obviously. So
yes, that was part of my divorce agreement.
Okay. In 7 years, when you do retire, what will your Social Security benefit be?
I was self-employed for 13 years. So the last I checked, it is going to be just over 2,000.
I mean, you're in very good shape because
I think so.
You've got your ex's pension, your Social Security, and then all these assets.
Yes.
So you're going to be fine. If you've got a financial question, it's so easy. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, upper right-hand corner, contact us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
Welcome back. It's Jill on Money. Let's get back to Therese from New Jersey. Tell me about the allocation of the money that's in the 403B and the inherited IRAs. I want to know, are you 100% in stocks? Is that why this is you're asking me about should I go to cash after being this big, risky investor in this one stock?
Oh, well, with my Vanguard, I am, yeah. So I just see the big number, and I'm just afraid that I'm missing an opportunity to maybe take that NVIDIA, and do something with it.
Let's look at this. Mm-hmm. Right now, you've got 200 in your 403B, 400 in. I forgot to ask you the rest of the Vanguard account, the other 125. What's that invested in? Also, stocks, individuals.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So it's 400 is all stocks. And in your 403B, how much of that is stock versus bond?
It's conservative. So it's more bonds. It's not as risky.
Of the 400 so we have the 400,000 of Vanguard is all stocks. And you said the conservative part of the 403B, how much of that, how conservative is it? Do you know the allocation of that?
I didn't bring that to the table, and
do you have a sense of half and half stocks, half bonds, or
about? I would say maybe 40% bonds.
Okay,
and then the Vanguard is not 400. It's more like 380. It's
okay.
Not quite
Don't
400
worry.
yet.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. That's fine. Okay, I have an idea.
Okay,
there's two ways to think about this. One is to say, you got way too much in the stock market because of your age and when you're going to need your money. But I do know you're going to get that $1 million.
You don't know when.
I don't know when. I know, but I know. And she also has the inherited Roth IRAs.
Yes.
I think if you wanted to be prudent, I know you probably didn't want to sell the NVIDIA when it was sky high because you're I don't want to pay taxes. But I'd pay some taxes. It's a funny thing. If I added everything up, the million, the Roths, and then, your 385,000 and then your 200,000, I could convince myself that, you've got a $1.7 million portfolio. You could keep, 100 grand in NVIDIA, but you don't really have that million yet. And it's just such a massive exposure. Why not take half the money and reallocate it? And you're at Vanguard. Are you comfortable buying index funds on your own?
No, I would need some assistance in that.
That's so funny. It's I can buy individual stocks and go out there on a limb. I do that on my own, but I need actually help with the index funds. What about if you did? Have you looked into the Vanguard Personal Service Advisor?
I have not.
So usually at Vanguard, they have a plan where if you have a certain amount of money, you can avail yourself to an advisor. It has a minimum dollar amount of $50,000, I think.
Okay.
It used to be. It might be more now. What happens is it's you get to work with an advisor for cheap. But what you could do is you could talk to them and say, I would pay 0.3% of your Vanguard account and say, I really need some help selling a chunk of my NVIDIA stock and spreading it out over a few, not 10 funds, but a few different funds. So I might want a U.S. stock market index fund, an international index fund, and a intermediate term bond fund, and call it a day. I mean, yeah, you're going to have to pay capital gains. So what? You're going to end up paying 15% of what your gain is. It's not that bad.
Okay.
It really isn't. And that way you can be clear-eyed and say, I'm happy to let some of this money stay, at risk. It's fine. But you don't have to worry about the ups and downs every day anymore. And then your 7 years is going to be, I do think as you approach 67, there's going to be many times. I just think you should be rebalancing over time. Every time you're looking at this accounts, let's say once a year, twice a year, you start to say, are there any gains? Are there any losses? Should I take some money? Should I reallocate? And you ask yourself these questions. That's the prudent way to invest. To just leave it all there forever is not really going to serve you. And then you're subject to these huge ups and downs. I think you'd be better off taking some of the money off the table, saying, I may not have sold the top, but boy, what did you put into it?
Oh, I can't even remember.
Like it's going to be, I'm sure you're going to pay this big chunky tax and you're going to say, I'm lucky I paid the tax. That means I made money, right?
Right.
So not so bad, right?
Not so bad. And then I could also, going with the Vanguard Personal Service Advisor, I could check in and do that every year.
Yep.
Rebalance every time.
Yep.
Look
and
at
then
the gains and the losses.
Exactly. And say, like, I want to work through some of my numbers with you. You do like just what you're doing with us.
Yeah. Because I want to get to that point in 7 years where I'm comfortable and can continue my modest, comfortable lifestyle here at the Jersey Shore.
I love it. That's good for you. And the only other thing, I know you said you had your estate documents done because you have that special needs trust. Is everything up to date now?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. I just updated, and I was thinking about putting the condominium in to that special needs trust.
Oh, the condo can go in there?
Yeah. So I just have to check with the condo association if they allow that. But
sometimes
my attorney said that, they would, could do
it.
Right.
So that he could have that house shielded.
Correct.
I get it. Okay. That makes sense. I don't think it's that hard to do as long as they allow it. Sometimes they have a fee to retitle it, but whatever.
It was like a $600 fee. It wasn't a big deal.
Exactly. I think that makes sense for you. I really do.
Okay.
All right. Teresa, New Jersey, I think we're done with you. You're listening to the Jill on Money Show. You're back. It's Jill on Money. We are trying to help answer some of your pressing financial decisions. Sometimes it's not even a big decision. Maybe you've got some anxiety. Well, you don't have to carry that anxiety all by yourself. Mark and I are both certified financial planners. We'd love to relieve some of that burden. So if you've got something going on and it is remotely associated with a dollar, get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and of course, if you'd like to join us live, check that box, and we would be happy to bring you on the air. Right now, let's finish up the program with an email from Mike, who writes, as a former teacher, I always said to students, both middle school and adult, that there are no foolish questions. So, despite my misgivings about asking my question, here it is. You use the term brokerage account on occasion. Does that refer to an account that one has with a company like Vanguard, or does it have a different meaning, or does it have multiple meanings? Mike, this is a great question, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to flesh this out a little bit with you and everyone else listening. A brokerage account is an account that you can open with a financial institution where you can buy, with certain limitations, pretty much what you want in that account. So you could have a brokerage account at a place like Vanguard or at a place like Morgan Stanley or some other large financial institution. Now, sometimes there are limitations as to what you can buy. For example, in some brokerage accounts, you might not be able to buy any mutual fund you want, but in others, you may be wide open. And what this brokerage account will allow you to do is hold both mutual funds, exchange-traded funds, individual securities, stocks, and bonds. And sometimes there's also safe stuff that you can hold there, like a certificate of deposit. So I hope that helps you out, and thanks again for the question. Well, that's it. That's the end of the program. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer and king of all things web. If you have a question, just log on to that website, JillOnMoney.com, and we're there for you 24/7. As a reminder, please try to do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening. Happy Father's Day, and we'll talk to you next week.